Towards the end of March this year, I reached the ripe old age of 61, and Pip and I celebrated by taking a road trip to East Sussex. I hope you enjoy coming along for the ride. To break up our drive to Rye, we took a slight detour to visit Bateman's, the former home of the author Rudyard Kipling, near the village of Burwash. The author lived here from 1902 until his death in 1936, and did an awful lot of his writing at this very desk. Rye is a beautiful little town sitting on the confluence of three rivers, giving access to the English Channel. As early as Roman times, Rye was recognised as being an important harbour, and its position on the southeast coast and its proximity to the continent made it an obvious choice to become an ancient town and join the Cinque Port Confederation. The French also recognised its strategic importance, and in 1377 they sacked and burnt the town to the ground. The impressive Landgate and Ype Tower are the remains of the fortifications that were built to try and protect the town. There has been a public house on the site of the Mermaid Inn since the 1100s, but the pesky French came over and burnt it down, so it had to be rebuilt in 1420. The hotel is full of character, and there isn't a straight line in sight. In days gone by, smugglers would sit in the bar with their fully loaded muskets lying on the table. It claims to be one of the most haunted pubs in England, and well, we didn't see anything ourselves, but it certainly gives that vibe. Supposedly, guests have had clothes which they've left on one chair moved to another chair overnight. And there's even been reports of two men duelling in the corner of one of the larger bedrooms, one of them dying and disappearing into the wall. A little further down Tower Street, we stumbled across the Waterworks Micro Pub, and we were really glad we did. For 300 years this building was a pump house, hence the name. Today this family-owned business prides itself on serving up ales and ciders, and there's a very long list to choose from, none of which are made more than 28 miles away. Rye is full of historically important buildings, and it's no surprise that it's been the setting for quite a few television and film dramas over the years. I said at the beginning of this film that we were here to celebrate my 61st birthday, and this is what we got up to on the actual day. It was a beautiful day, so we set off to explore nearby Hastings, stopping en route on Winchelsea Beach. The Hastings Shipwreck Museum was really interesting, with this particular hoard from the Danish merchant ship the Thomas Lawrence, including a gravestone. These fossilised iguanodon footprints were found on the seabed, as was this perfectly preserved 4,000-year-old tree that isn't fossilised or petrified. It's simply been perfectly preserved by the seawater. 1749, the Dutch East India Company ship, the Amsterdam, suffered a mutiny and was beached near Eastbourne. In the uprising, the unfortunate Adrian, aged 16, was shot and killed. They probably do exist elsewhere, but I've never seen these very distinct fishermen's net huts before.
Where are we? Say something.
Hello, we are in Hastings. And
it's your birthday.
Oh, and it's my birthday. Yeah, sorry. I thought it was like Brighton and Hove, like Hastings and somewhere else. We're staying in Rye actually, so we've just driven down here today to take in this little seaside town, which is really nice.
And we came across this lovely backdoor sausage hole. What's that all about?
Whilst there's been a building of some description on this site since the early 17th century, Ye Olde Pump House is not all that it appears at first sight.
Where are we now?
We're in, what's it called? The Ye Olde Pump House. And we're having a cup of coffee.
Do you remember what date it was built in?
I don't, but I will Google it and find out. And what my research discovered is that despite this real old worldy look, this building was extensively remodelled, including the front facade, in 1956. And despite what the sign says, that's absolutely true. Every schoolchild has heard of 1066 and the Battle of Hastings, but The battle actually took place around 8 miles or so further inland, in a place now called Battle. Now, as you can see at this point, Pip and I did a piece to camera, but we didn't realise at the time that the wind was so severe that you can hardly hear what we're saying. So I'll basically try and capture. So Pip is pointing to the abbey, which is on top of the hill, because we're sat on the actual battleground of the 1066 battle, and we're sat right where William the Conqueror and his Norman invaders approached the Saxon defenders who were on top of the hill behind us. Now, at the time of the battle, of course, there would have been no trees here and certainly no abbey on the hill. It's also quite difficult to get a feel for just how steep the gradient of the hill is behind us. And it's a sunny March day, and it was so peaceful, and the walk was gorgeous, and it was really, really difficult to imagine the thousands of lives that were lost that day in 1066, when William basically outfoxed the Saxon defenders with a battle that he shouldn't have won. One other point that Pip and I make is the English Heritage have done this really, really well. You can walk the battleground and you can listen to the important elements of the battle and the timing, and I really recommend this as a visit if you haven't been before. It is said that William, despite clearly being triumphant, regretted the level of lives that were lost that day, and whilst he felt that he had God on his side, he insisted that this abbey be built on the site of the battle as a memorial to remember the dead and the great triumph of the Normans over the Saxons that day. William specifically requested that a church be built on the very spot where King Harold was slain, and this slab is where the high altar used to be and supposedly marks the very place where he fell.
How does it feel?
It's incredibly heavy. I'd say I probably would be really tired just standing around with this thing on for several hours, let alone trying to beat anyone.
It looks quite weird, doesn't it?
Do I look ferocious? Actually, this is also bad because my weak right eye is really being affected by having this here. So even if I was trying to fight you, I'd probably miss.
You'd have been exempt.
What, on the basis of having
your weak right eye,
my weak right eye
and your flat feet.
Right. we're doing this impromptu bit to obviously to camera because we're being filmed. So I don't know why people say I'm doing this to camera. We are doing this because Pitt felt that the vlog as it stood had a very abrupt ending, and it would have been nice for us to kind of conclude it in some other way. So this is our attempt to make something up that is breaking it more gently to you that the vlog is now coming to an end, and that we're going to say goodbye in a second. So here we are. We're at home. In all seriousness, we wanted to reflect on actually what was a fab weekend, and
it was a really nice weekend, and it was I learned a lot about the history of that place and William the Conqueror.
And William the Conqueror.
I learned lots about William the Conqueror.
And I learned that the helmets were very heavy. There's no doubt about that.
And I didn't see any ghosts.
And we didn't see it. We didn't see any ghosts at all. But in all seriousness,
it's a really pretty part of the world. And if you've not been, or if you want to get a taste of what it was like, watch that series called Map and Lucia, which was almost exclusively filmed there, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
And it's beautiful. The streets are cobbled and quaint. It's full of certainly Rye is full of lots of nice individual independent shops. Was selling lots and lots of lovely things. There was lots of nice pubs and bars, and it was really nice. It was a nice weekend.
So we'd never been before, and we thoroughly recommend it. I guess that's where.
And we're not being sponsored by the
East Sussex Tourist Board. I have to say,
sadly,
on the subject of East Sussex Tourist Board, the one thing that I would criticise that county for is the number of potholes. I thought Somerset was bad,
God.
But honestly, the potholes in East Sussex
they're huge, aren't they?
They are. So get your suspension checked out before you go, but do go because it is worth a visit.
Beautiful. Anyway, that's it now. We're concluding.
We are concluding.
In a nice,
so
gentle
brace
way.
yourself.
In a gentle way.
Bye.
Bye. Don't tilt it.
Well, you can rip it out of my hand.
No, don't tilt it. Why do you tilt it
Look,
like
okay,
that?
look, hold on a second. Look, that is level.
It's not. Look at it. It's not.
Okay, so babe, there's a yellow line right through the middle.
Yeah, that means that we're centred. That is level. Oh, look, there's a yellow line through there as well.
You weren't talking about that orientation. I was talking about this orientation.
No, I don't want it tilted down like that because all it does is show my chin.
How's that?
I like it up. That's why I like it from here, because I like it from there because it's level. Do there, look.
What can we put it on? Turn this around. Right, what are we going to say before we actually get it to play? Oh, it's recording.